the coffee board. This was a topic that came up as one of the most potential areas to be addressed. And we thought that, hey, why don't we kind of quickly put together a webinar and share some top level insights in terms of what potentially happens in the pricing thing, right? So the topic that we have chosen is why most startups underprice and what to do about it. And as the tagline says, pricing impacts everyone who creates value. And we have essentially designed this session, to help people so that they can really not just go about creating value, but also claim a stake in the value that they end up creating, right? So why does this conversation matter really? So people know how to create value. I think many people go out, put in a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of grind, and they end up doing some exceptional results. That is basically creating the value. But the claiming the value is, what are you entitled out of the value that you create? That is what claiming the value is all about. And pricing plays a very important part in the process of claiming that value, right? And pricing quietly shapes, as I've mentioned here, the revenue trajectory and hence the business sustainability. So it's a very strategic decision, and it has to be taken with a lot of thought and lot of care and lot of thinking in terms of how it is going to impact our business, our customers, etc. Pricing also shapes the profit margins, because it's a very straightforward fit, because price minus cost is your margin at the end of the day. And pricing also, shapes the customer quality and the relationship dynamics. If you have the kind of margin with the right kind of pricing, you will also be able to consistently deliver quality. Otherwise, sometimes we have seen that under the pressure of margin, people tend to cut corners in the operations, and these things end up affecting the experience and the quality that the customers kind of have. And pricing also in a way reflects the confidence that you have in your business, and also reflects in the conversations that you have with your stakeholders. So pricing is not actually speaking a finance problem. It is actually a decision and confidence problem. That is how we are trying to frame this particular issue. So what are we going to learn today in this quick 60 odd minute session? So first we'll say that understand why price underpricing happens. So explore the psychological strategic reasons, right? Smart people leave money on the table. Common pricing traps, right? We'll look at what happens. Learn a simple thinking lens. So we will show you a very simple framework, and we will potentially hope that you will walk away with some kind of immediate actions that you can possibly implement in your business. So hopefully it should give you some low hanging fruits, right? And so this is a thinking session. So please keep your thinking hat on. It's not just about listening to what I'm presenting here. So challenge me. All of you come with a lot of experience. No one is, like newcomer or anything like that. Many of you are founders, which means that you have that appetite to take risks in life, which means that you have had that experience, you have that courage. So don't just take what I say on its face value. Let's make it an engaging session. Bring in your experiences, challenges, and let's be open about it, right? So that's what I hope to achieve. So this is how we will look at the workshop. So there will be welcome and context, right? Then we will look at the core framework, which is about the value claiming lens. We will have a small interactive exercise, and we will keep some Q&A in the end, right? So as I said, it's not just about me talking and you just listening. Keep challenging, share your thoughts, and also take notes as new ideas land. If something kind of lights a bulb in your mind, right? Don't just let it pass by. Just take a quick pause and take notes. because notes are very, very powerful, and they really help in idea retention. Okay, so take notes. I have done that profusely when I attend different workshop seminars. And in the process of writing, what I have realized is a lot of thinking clarity keeps coming, and it really helps, in further fine tuning the idea that has landed up to me. So today is about clarity and not perfection. You won't master pricing in an hour, right? So I don't think that is the promise, but you will gain the mental models to start making better decisions immediately, and focus on actionable insights for your journey. So that's what we aim to achieve. So, many people kind of filled up the form, the registration form. And, this is the profile of people who found this idea so interesting. And they kind of took time and, filled up the form and wanted to attend this today's webinar. So 57% of today's participants, you can say, are entrepreneurs. They are founders, they are businessmen, businesswomen. They own a trading business, they own an export business. They are co-founders, or they could be a proprietor. They own a shop, they may own a plantation, whatever. But I put all these people under one bucket, which is entrepreneurs, right? Then the working professionals, right? So they are working in different organization, and possibly their job kind of takes them into this interesting domain of deciding the pricing. Then 6%. So between working professional and entrepreneurs, we have almost 83% of our cohort. Then 6% are startup employees. These people are working in startups. 4% are aspiring founders. They have not yet started, but somewhere, they are working on a business plan. They are thinking of starting up. Maybe they are still at an idea stage, so they are anticipating that pricing could be a topic that they will have to deal with closely. Homemakers also have considered. There are few homemakers who have responded, to this webinar, and I consider homemakers as aspiring founders. We also have few students, we also have few professors here, and there are a few consultants. Okay, so that's the mix of audience. We had also asked a question, to all of you, that what is your immediate pressing pricing problem? So what I did was I created a word cloud out of it, and the word, this is the word, right? The most, the larger the word, the bigger, the more number of people have called that issue out. So of course, pricing is one of the biggest call out. Price or pricing, market. People want to understand market, right? So clearly, again, this is coming out thing. Value, is a big point that people want to understand more about. How do I create value? How do I ensure margins? I think this is again, a big point that people are talking about. They really need to have a good handle on their margin. Then competition, people are worried about the competitive intensity, and sometimes their pricing decisions are driven by competition, possibly. Then customer is again a big part, because they really want to ensure that the pricing that they charge should ensure that they get the customers. Then we see words like strategy. People want to understand what is the pricing strategy. Is there a thing like that? That is something which people are kind of trying to grapple with. Scaling, is there a different pricing game that I have to play when I am scaling my business? People are trying to differentiate between an early stage versus scaling kind of a situation that they face. And we will have some examples that I will talk about. Then is there a framework? People want to understand things like framework, right? Product, what should be the kind of product, affordability, markups. Then people are talking about undercutting. I think this seems to be something which is on people's mind. How can I be innovative, in my pricing, and how innovation can really help us determine our pricing? So that is again a very interesting aspect. Then I can see a word like war. Maybe when you are in a direct competition, right, when there is not too much of a difference between what you're offering versus what somebody else is offering, you end up getting into a pricing war, right? Then there is words like profit. That is, of course, we talked about it in the earlier slide as well, where we see a clear line of sight between pricing and profitability. People want to test, is there a way by which I can do some kind of a testing, a small dipstick, and understand whether I'm pricing it correct or not. Positioning is again a very important thing. Is pricing somewhere related to positioning, right? We also see position, premium, all these things, communication, cheap, segmentation, again a very important word in the context of pricing. People want to figure out, is there a way by which I can segment the market, right? And we will talk about it and understand more in terms of is pricing and segmentation related. So yeah, these are some very interesting insights that I got from the various participants basis the form that they filled up. Now, let me straight away jump into the reasons why smart people still underpriced. So I'm going to share some thoughts, but before that, anyone wants to take a shot here? I will just allow maybe one or two participants to quickly jump in and possibly share their thoughts in terms of what do they think, why do smart people underprice. Anyone? Ashwik, you want to let anyone quickly share one or two rapid fire answers to this question, and then I will kind of jump into my thought process. This will also let people warm up and get into a little bit of a participatory mode.
Sure, sir. Yes, so dear participants, so as sir suggested, so anyone who has any clarification or anything that you want
Any
to
thoughts
share,
on
your
this?
thoughts related to this, so you are most welcome to step in, please.
We'll like to hear one or two participants to jump in and share their experience, or if they disagree, they think that no, smart people price well actually.
Uh, Mr. Ishwar Prasad has mentioned to scale.
Okay. So basically, as per Mr. Ishwar, he thinks that if you are able to price low, it will help you to acquire more customers, because the customers will be more attracted to your price point, and hence you will get more volume, right? So yeah, that could be a point. Yes. What else?
And there is one more, sir, from
Yeah.
Lavita. We feel less price means less low resistance for buying.
Okay, so pricing is equivalent to friction, is what Lavita is saying. So when people see high price, they tend to move away, right? And they say, ki, hey, I don't want to buy it, right? Okay, fair point. Anyone else? Anyone wants to unmute and speak? I can hear one more ping. So maybe
One by Rashida Huzifa. She has mentioned to capture the market.
yeah, the same point. I think more or less I'm seeing a similar point coming across, right, from all the three people, right?
Deva
So
Venkatesha to attract new customer. Rome,
customer acquisition, okay. What else?
Rome at the beginning, making it affordable.
To make it affordable and acquire new customers. Yes, people do that. That is a strategy. Keep the low entry price. Yes, what else?
Uh,
Last, I want someone to speak, unmute and share their thoughts in
yes,
30 seconds. Anyone wants to
Yeah,
volunteer?
can I?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, this is Anita from Miani Wellness. When we are new, we normally think that we don't have a data of how much people will pay for this price, especially when we are launching a new product. So that is where we underprice sometimes.
Okay, understood. Wonderful point. So you're saying a lack of insight, on the market's willingness and ability to pay actually ends up in a situation where we may leave value on the table. Maybe we have not done enough, what do I say, diligence in terms of market research or getting those insights that, hey, maybe the customers are willing to pay more. But because we don't have that insight, we feel underconfident about ourselves. And hey, if I go ahead and price so much, maybe I'll end up losing these people. Okay, great thoughts. So let me share, few reasons, and some of the reasons that I am sharing here will resonate with what some of you have already said. Fear of losing customers, yes, the anxiety that higher prices will drive prospects away, leading to a conservative pricing that undervalues your offering. So it is somewhere, you know, rooted in a fear factor, which is not a good situation to be. Lack of confidence in value, right? So again, this is the point we just heard, right? Anita talk about, which is difficulty in articulating why your solution deserves the premium pricing, or if not premium pricing, the price that you want to ask for, often stemming from imposter syndrome or market uncertainty, which means that you have not been able to gauge the market really well. And that is resulting in a situation where we don't feel confident enough, right? Of, hey, can I go ahead and charge this kind of price? Over focus on competitors, right? Obsessing over what others charge instead of understanding your unique value proposition, right? And the customer's willingness to pay. Sometimes we get so obsessed with what the other person is doing, we end up mimicking them so much, we actually end up losing the unique value that we bring to the table. So that is why it could potentially lead to a situation where we underprice. Under articulation of trust, failing to build the credibility signals that justify pricing. If you want to price X amount, you will have to, you should establish that trust, right? And that trust is what really signifies that, hey, I am justified, in asking for this pricing. So leaving customers questioning whether you can deliver. So sometimes we are not able to articulate that trust very clearly. Pricing as a one time decision, we think that pricing is a one time decision. Somebody comes and asks, we'll just say, hey, okay, let's do it. But it is not like that. So treating pricing as a static choice rather than an evolving strategy, and we have to adapt with market conditions and customer needs. And we will take a look at one case study today, in terms of how one global company, started off with a particular price and how they played around on their pricing. Okay. And then lack of understanding of costs, this is again a very important thing. Not fully grasping the true cost of delivering your product or service. Sometimes we don't even know what are the costings. We may tend to underestimate them, and we may, still think that by charging a X price or a lower price, we might end up covering our costs, okay, leading to pricing that doesn't adequately cover expenses and profit margin. So these are some reasons. Some of you covered it, and some of them, I think you might be, it would be probably an insight for you, right? So underpricing is rarely intentional. It is usually unexamined, right? Which means that we may just not have given our pricing decision the kind of thought it deserves. Okay, we may just take it on the face. We may do it because of fear factor. We may do it because we are too much, what do I say, focused on our competition. So these could be some reasons. Okay, so so this is the reason. Now let me share some big ideas on pricing, and then we will kind of look at the framework. So what is the big idea number one? So number one is pricing is a signal. Okay, so please understand, whatever price you choose, right, it is a signal. So before customer experiences your product, price tells a story, right? It communicates in a way positioning, quality expectations, who your offering is designed for. Okay, so your price is definitely talking about the product even before people have actually experienced your product. So price shapes perception before experience. A low price can signal bargain, value, or lack of quality. Sometimes when people see KR, the price is much lower. So then you will start wondering whether the quality will be good enough or not. While a high price suggests premium, exclusivity, or confidence. Cheap and affordable are not the same. So we have to understand that. Sometimes we get confused about cheap and affordable. Affordable means accessible to your target customer. Cheap means undervalued and potentially suspect. Any example that comes to your mind of this particular idea? Anyone want to share some thoughts before I move forward? Any thoughts, folks who are there on the call?
I'm Lavanya. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Lavanya, yes.
One of my customer, just I want to share my experience. One of my customer, he showed some bean prices like in WhatsApp itself. Like they are getting less compared to me, but I am offering less only. But this is a small initial startup only. But they are comparing that prices from the market, and they're asking how your pricing are quoted like this. So when they're doing comparison as the end customer, end user, they compare with the market price like that. So this is the situation how we need to handle this.
Yeah, so that
Yes, sir.
is, I understand. So this is typically a situation that businesses face in when they are pure play commodity. When they are pure play commodity. So when you are in a pure play commodity, it becomes a very difficult, sorry, not different, very difficult for you to differentiate yourself. And differentiation is important for you to establish some kind of pricing authority. Without that, you are trying to sell something which everybody else is selling, and hence what happens is the customers are trying to commoditize your offering. And when something becomes a commodity, then it gets into a straightaway price war. So you will have to understand the role of different products, and we'll talk about it. We'll have to understand the role of different products in the portfolio of the products that you have in your business. If you are a one product company, let us say, and if you are one product company and if that product is a commodity, then what happens is you are basically operating in a buyer's market. Okay, which means that the buyer is more powerful than you, and it becomes a challenge. And hence what is happening is many agro based or agriculture based businesses or farming based businesses are trying to get more into downstream activities, right? Downstream activities in the sense, don't just make commodity but make some value added products so that you can claim value. I hope I've been able to answer your question. It's a very long
Yes.
answer that I've
Yeah.
attempted.
As you said, there are some rules pricing too. I'll follow up the session. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, but any thoughts that pricing is a signal? I mean, I would like to hear that sometimes, cheap and affordable are not the same, or, high price kind of indicates premiumness. Any case study or anything that comes into your mind when you hear this thing? Yeah, I can hear some pings here. Ashwin?
Hi,
Hi.
this is Pooja here.
Hi, Pooja.
Yes, I'm basically into event management. So I have always come across these two terms, cheap and affordable.
Hmm.
And whenever I try to provide them affordable prices, I either it sound low to the vendor or to the vendor from whom I'm taking the services, and I tend to keep less margin and quote to the customer. So between cheap and affordable, I'm not able to always
Ah,
build that build that the services that I'm providing to show them that it is premium.
True, true. I think this is honestly a challenge that many businesses face because especially in service business, what happens is it becomes difficult to bring in a layer of differentiation. Okay,
Hmm.
so you'll have to clearly call out what is it that you really bring to table, the value, right? So
Exactly.
sometimes if you are having a long-term understanding with your customer, then you understand their business and you can create extremely tailor-made solutions because you are in event management and event is all about experience, right, at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So your ability to showcase the what do I say, the capability that you have to bring newness and uniqueness of experience to the different events that you have done will add a
Exactly.
lot of trust factor, because I also talked about trust in the previous slide. You know that
Hmm.
we are not able to bring in that trust, people under articulation of trust, so failing to build the credibility signals that justifying pricing. So for example, you may have some great capabilities of creating a drone event or something like that. I'm just pulling it out of my
Hmm.
head, but it should create a aha, and that is what
Correct.
will help you stand out. So
Yes.
yes, affordable is important, but it should not go into the cheap category. But yeah, the example I wanted to share with you all is the Tata Nano, case study, which was one of the most touted innovations from India, right? And the whole world was talking at it at that point of time, because I remember very clearly this product launched in 2009 or something like that. And the dollar used to be 50 versus rupee, and there was this talk that India has launched a car at $2,000 price point because it was a 1 lakh rupee. But despite the engineering marvel, despite the commercial marvel, it was one of the biggest failures because it was launched as a cheap car, right? So positioned as the world's cheapest car at 1 lakh, the Nano's low price became the entire story. Instead of affordable mobility, it signaled compromise, right? Nobody wanted in India to be seen driving a cheap car, unfortunately. The market heard cheap when Tata meant accessible, and sales suffered because pricing sent the wrong signal about quality and aspiration. So sometimes, we have to be very clear, especially if you're trying to create a brand or something like that. You know, your pricing does send a signal. If you are going to price it like crazily low, people can think that it's a cheap product, it is a low quality, and they may like to keep themselves away from such product. I'm seeing some, I'm hearing some pings. Are there some Ashwik, are there some points that people are trying to share?
So Vaishnavi here.
Hi
If
Vaishnavi.
anybody has some points, please do raise your hands. We are open for communication now.
Okay, so yeah, so this is the first point I wanted to land with everyone. The second point that I want to land with everyone, the big idea too, is people pay for value and not just for products, right? What do customers pay for, right? They pay to reduce their effort, making tasks easier and faster. They want to reduce their risk, minimize their uncertainty and failure, reduce their time, go to market or whatever, accelerating outcomes and results, and uncertainty, providing clarity and predictability. and also improving their experience. So I have not put that point here. Sometimes improving the experience is also a very important part of what customers pay for. And hence, when you look at the market, it is very important for you to understand what customer are you serving. You can't go with the same product to all the customers. Please understand. You will have to really, and I'm going to use this word, it's a very important word. It is called as the segment the market. You have to understand the market segmentation really, really well. And the classic example is the airlines example, right? And I'm going to call it the airline paradox, where the same plane, same departure, same destination, same arrival time, yet passengers pay radically different price for economy, premier economy, business, and first class. The product is basically getting from A to B, right? From Bombay to London or whatever. That is identical. But what changes is the experience and the value of reducing friction. If you go through Emirates, right, and if you're a business class traveler, they will send a Mercedes at your home, right? They will take you to the airport in that Mercedes, right? Then you will have access to Emirates lounge. It's an experience in itself versus an economy. Now, a Bombay, Dubai, London may cost, let us say, 2.5 lakhs. I don't know. I'm just pulling up a number. On Emirates business class, maybe it will cost 60 or 70K on an economic class, right? The difference in pricing almost fourfold. Do you think they are going to spend so much more for a business class customer versus an economy? No. The incremental cost of serving that customer is not much. By giving them a Mercedes, by giving them, access to the lounge, by giving them, bigger, what do I say, leg room, by giving them, much better food in the aircraft, they may end up spending maybe 20-25,000 rupees more per traveler, but they are charging 4x more, right? So your ability to segment the market and understand which customer is willing to pay what kind of price for what kind of product or service is extremely important pricing call that you will take. Because if you're just selling one product, then you will be, trying to max out your revenue margin on that product. But, when you have, different segments that you are catering to, your ability to make disproportionate margins on certain customer segments can make your entire portfolio profitable while you keep driving the top lines through your economy class passengers and stuff like that. So that's the point we are trying to make. So when you understand what problem you're solving rather than what product you're selling, pricing becomes clearer and confidence follows. Any thoughts? Vaishnavi, just keep a close watch on the chat, because I'm hearing some ping. I'm not able to see the screen. I'm just seeing my presentation. But whenever there is some chat, I'm hearing a ping.
We are actually tracking it, sir.
Okay. Any point that people have shared?
Yes. Later, like Deva Venkatesh has mentioned to beat competition. Aditi has mentioned to make it tougher for competitors, and Levita, again, she has mentioned, aren't Indian customers price sensitive? So these are the things.
100% Lavita, Indian customers are price sensitive. They are the most discerning customers, I think, in the whole world, right? And we have to learn, how to get value across, how to create value for them, and get our share of value also. Claim the value, create the value, claim the value. That is what it is about. And we'll look at some examples, right? So if you look at, Indigo is a bad example in today's time. They had a bad experience recently. But if you look at Indigo as an airlines, they call themselves a low-cost airlines. But how many of you know what is the profitability of Indigo Airlines in India for last year? Anyone wants to take a guess? They made 8,000 plus crores of profit in the last financial year. 8,000 crores plus. I think it's 8,500. So that is the kind of profitability a low-cost, so-called low-cost player made in a market like India, which is one of the most price sensitive. So what I'm trying to say is we have to learn that art of creating value and claiming the value. And there are many companies in India who are doing it. Many companies in India are profitable, right? There are few, who have burnt their hands at it, but most of the companies are doing well. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Ms. Room wants to, she has actually raised in a hand, and yes, please, Ms. Room.
Hi, good evening.
Good
I
evening.
absolutely agree with your point, what you shared about the Emirates. Okay, there's a similar kind of services I provide, and I have a two segment. Okay, I just like my premium, I'm into the wellness and in the international market.
Right.
So my premium wellness packages are really into the multiple pound, and then to just experience, I made some lower packages to just make the things visible to the larger audience. But what the lower packages, the customer quality is totally different, whereas the premium, trust me, that is the most premium packages are sold in India and as well as the international market. But these are always pre-book, and I provide them this kind of all services. I will make a special chauffeur arrangement to pick them, to take around and all. Absolutely, the way you share the Emirates.
Yeah.
And it is so it matters which kind of a segment one want to share, and these clients comes repeated. So
Yes.
better I maintain those clients than this lower profile count.
Yes, fantastic point made. I think you have, just cemented the point I was trying to make with your own personal story.
Thank you.
So let's move forward. So that was the big idea 2. The big idea 3 that I want to talk about is trust enables pricing power. And it's always, what do I say, a tricky situation for a new business, that how do I establish my trust. That's a different conversation altogether. But the point and the example that I'm going to give is again something which many people would relate with, that how someone came into a saturated market and created a premium positioning on the back of trust. So experience reduces perceived risk, and customers trust you will deliver. The price resistance drops significantly. So first experience is typically high risk, low trust, and price sensitivity. And then once you have that proven track record, you basically actually have that low risk and high trust and value focus. So the insight is strengthen the trust signals, right? You will have to work a lot on that. And what are the trust signals? Things like testimonials, right? Somebody, your customers talking about you. That is the most highest level of trust that any other customer would look at. Word of mouth, right? When someone talks to their friends or colleagues or something like that. Guarantees, right? When you're saying, ki, hey, listen, I'm guaranteeing you some outcomes. Case studies, consistency, and visible proof. So I think this is again a very powerful idea. And let me share one, what do I say, brand or a business that I have been watching very closely. And I think that they have done a great job, which is Rameshwaram Cafe. How many of you have heard of it or have experienced it? They came into Bangalore a couple of years back. I think 4-5 years back, I would say. And they entered into the Bangalore saturated food market. I mean, in Bangalore, you go into any road, any street, you will find so many already established South Indian, what do I say, the darshanis, we call them the darshanis, the hotels or fast food joints, already there, and people are eating, and the pricing is pretty affordable everywhere, right? And in such a market, a new player comes in and gives and disrupts, and comes at a very high price compared to what is going on in the market, and creates a completely new experience. And they talk about the goodness of ghee and everything, and then they show the ghee being used straight from the pouch, They are not putting it from some container and all that. So they will actually open that Nandini ghee pouch in front of you, and they will actually show, that the food is being prepared using that. And that's what creates trust. So consistent quality, predictable experience, and strong brand trust built through delivering on promises every single time. So predictability builds willingness to pay. Customers resist price when trust is weak, not when products are expensive. So when trust is not there, that becomes a problem. And how did Rameshwaram? I'll just take a minute here to also address that. How do I build trust in the first place? I am a new player. Why would somebody come and start trusting me and in the first place walk into my restaurant, right, and start paying 110 rupees for a dosa when normally it is available at 70-80 bucks? So the thing is basically about customer acquisition strategy, which is slightly different topic, but it's a very important topic. How do I get my early customers? So that's the point which Rameshwaram cracked very, very well, whereby, they were able to open their first store in the right kind of neighborhood, which had the right audience profile, the young millennials and Gen Zs who were actually looking out to a different kind of a South Indian food experience. They kept the restaurant open from 5 a.m. to 1 a.m., right? Almost 24 hours, 20 hours, which no other South Indian restaurant had in the past. That made, hanging out in a South Indian restaurant very cool in the middle of the night. So they had a very beautiful customer acquisition strategy. It was not just, about pricing itself. They cracked that piece well. And their initial set of customers were very different. But today, if you walk into a Rameshwaram store, right, cafe, you'll find all kinds of people having food there. Yeah, so that's, the trust and how it helps in bringing the pricing power. Any thoughts, folks, before I move forward? I think I'm hearing some sound. Anyone wants to share their experience, unmute, talk, or ping, put it in the chat.
This is Rome again. I haven't visited Rameshwaram Cafe, but my next visit, definitely I will try to visit. But there is a similar thing happen in the North India, like North India, like a chaat, pani puri, and all those things are very famous. So you would have heard this name, Haldirams.
Yeah.
They have opened the outlets, such a massive outlets everywhere from Delhi around to the Manali to Himachal. I think that ambience matters. It's the same. They are selling pani puri, chaat, and all, and of course premium price. But ambience matters, and today's customers are looking for the ambience where they are going to eat their food. So similar story like Rameshwaram. The small Haldiram Bhujia and all, but they have a big, massive outlet. But definitely, I will visit to Rameshwaram Cafe this time.
Sure. Are you from Delhi, ma'am?
No, I'm very much settled in Coorg and the Karnataka. Yeah, but I do travel.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your insight on that. I completely resonate with what you're saying. So, any other person would like to share their thoughts before I move forward? So that brings me to the very important point. So pricing is not just a number game, right? So pricing isn't about finding just the right price point. It's about understanding many elements. I mean, it's not just a standalone thing that you can just say, "Ki boss, tomorrow onwards, I'm going to start, selling my product or service at X price." Right? You'll have to understand the various components that are there, which are interacting with each other. So there is a customer, right, who values this the most. So who is my customer? That is the first and foremost, and the segment. Then what problem are we solving? How are we creating value for them? Right? Trust. Why should they believe you in the first place? Right? And how do we package and charge? Right? I think we heard Mrs. Rom talk about. She sends the cars and everything, right? Like to the premium customers, right? And then we also saw the Emirates example. So what is the packaging? How do we charge it? That's a very important thing. What are, do we bundle it? Do we sell individually? Do we create a package of certain things? That's what helps in creating the right kind of a thing. So if any of these 4 elements are weak, your pricing structure could potentially break down. And pricing confidence comes from alignment across all the 4 dimensions. So let me quickly walk through these 4 dimensions a little bit in detail, though I talked about it. So the first is the segment clarity. Who values this the most? Not everyone values your offering equally. Identify the customers who gain the most benefit and have the strongest willingness to pay. I mean, extremely important point. This is where that customer acquisition lens come in, and this is why I spent a few minutes explaining how Rameshwaram's strategy of opening their first store in Indiranagar was so important in Bangalore's context. They didn't open it in, let us say, Rajaji Nagar or someplace. Indiranagar is the startup hub, youth hangout. They have a less resistance, to try out new kind of places, and they had that willingness to pay, experience. So I think that segment clarity is very, very important, right? If you miss that, you may actually end up chasing a different kind of a customer who will make it a bit difficult for you in your journey, right? They will haggle price and those kind of things. What problem are we solving, right? So move beyond features to outcomes. Again, a very important thing. Don't talk about your features. Talk about what difference you will make in your customer's life, right? What specific pain, risk, or opportunity does your solution address that customers care about? Clearly bring that aspect out. That we will reduce your time, or we will improve your health, or we will give you a much better experience, or we have a most premium coffee, or we may have something which nobody else has, or something unique. Why should they trust us at this price? What evidence, track record, or guarantees do you provide which reduce the perceived risk and justify your pricing in customers' mind? Again, a very important bridge. Work on it. And what exactly are we charging for? Which is the pricing structure? Are we doing it on a subscription? Are we sometimes giving it on outcome? If you're in a long-term strategic consult, I see that there are some consultants also here, right? If you're doing some consulting kind of a thing, you can actually price on outcomes. That, hey, listen, I'm guaranteeing you some outcomes. You can pay me on the outcome. Or you can price per hour, or you can give them different tiers of product bundles, all those things. So you'll have to tailor make all these things, basis which you'll be able to communicate the price and what goes into it. For example, Emirates, again, something which all of us can relate with. If you buy a business class ticket, the business class lounge access is bundled into it, right? Which everybody is an experience which everybody wants to have. So, that's how you kind of bring this whole value claiming lens together. So applying this lens, I'm going to share an example of 3 brands quickly, okay? Because I'm just mindful of time also. It's already 5:26. So Coke, it's a company where I worked for almost 18 years. So if you look at the company and the packages that they sell, right? Different packages are priced at very different price points, okay? Which means that if you want to buy a can versus if you want to buy a PET bottle, a small bottle, or if you want to buy a PET bottle for your home, the price per ml or the price per liter is very different, because some bottles are meant for immediate consumption, some large bottles are meant for families, and the fountain drinks are for restaurants. So the entire pricing is tailored to the occasion. So they have built an occasion based lens. So which occasion is my product going to get consumed? And when people are buying for their families, typically it goes in the grocery basket. And when you are buying things in the grocery basket, you become very, very price conscious, right? And hence, if you look at the PET bottles, the large PET bottles, their typical price per ml would be the lowest, right? But if you were to look at a can, the can pricing is much more, right? Compared on a per ml basis, of course. It will be priced almost 2x or 3x on a per ml basis, because can is a more, what do I say, lifestyle product. People like to, show off or something like that. So they have a very occasion based modeling of pricing. So different packaging is equal to different value, and hence different price per ounce or ml. This is one way one company has successfully applied pricing. Then HP, if you look at it, they do it very differently. They basically have very low pricing for their printers, but very high pricing for their ink, right? So they don't make much money on the printers, but they have a high margin on the ink. So what they're essentially looking at is they're looking at the lifetime value for the customer, right? So different metrics, different customer commitments, that gives them the pricing power. So once you become an HP customer, right, next time you go to buy a new cartridge for your printer, they will make tons of money, and over a period of your lifetime engagement with them, they would have made enough money. So hence their pricing is not the same strategy for all the products. This is just an example I'm trying to share with you. The third example is McDonald's, right? So they have individual items, value meals, premium options, recruiting different customer segments with varied price points and bundling strategies. There is a value meal, etc., etc. So portfolio thinking is equal to capturing value across segments. They have also introduced the McCafe, right? So the McCafe pricing is at par maybe with Starbucks or something like that. But if you want to eat an aloo tikki burger, it will be $50 or $60. But if you want to drink a McCafe, it could be 220 or something like that. So they have that ability to, differentiate between different customers and price it accordingly. So different companies have used this pricing formulas in their own way successfully, okay, and each one of you would actually be doing it. So pricing confidence comes from clarity and not guesswork. When you articulate your pricing logic, customers can understand and accept it. So where most pricing breaks down is the same thing that I talked about. The segments are not clearly defined, the value articulated in features and not outcomes. So example is, we have 15 features, don't justify price. We reduce customer churn by 30%, does. So when you talk in their language, customers buy results and not specs. Trust is assumed and not engineered. Thinking our quality speaks for itself leaves customers uncertain. Trust must be deliberately built through proof points, guarantees, and consistent delivery. And pricing copied instead of design, mimicking competitors without understanding their strategy, cost, or positioning leads to misaligned strategies. Okay, so these are some breakdowns. It's a continuation of the same thing that I talked about. So result is constant discounting, uncomfortable pricing conversations, and leaving money on table. So I'm just going to take a 2-minute break, and I want you to think from your own point of view, right? So, and take a moment and write your answer. This is a simple exercise, and answer these questions. My customer is, okay, who's your customer? So be specific, okay? So tell very clearly who is your customer, the segment or whatever. So if you are running a business, please, you should, or if you're thinking of running a business, you should be able to answer this question. Or if you're an employee, startup employee, working employee, please give an attempt to answering this question. Why are they paying? They pay because what outcome or transformation do they achieve? What problem disappears or opportunity emerges by working with you? So clearly articulate. And third, they trust because what proof points, credentials, or guarantees reduce their perceived risk of choosing you at your price point? So please answer these 3 questions for your own business, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask 1 or 2 of you to share what you have written. Okay, so I'm just going to take a 30-second pause and let everyone fill this up, and then we will kind of allow a few people to share. So anyone wants to share? If you've jotted some thoughts on this framework, that who's my customer, why do they pay, and why do they trust you? And did you get any insight out of it?
Can I?
Yeah. Your good name, please. I can't see you. Yeah,
Rome.
Yes, yes.
Rome. I'm into the, as I said, international wellness market, and my customer pays because they see that health and wellness transformation. And my international review ratings are 4.9, which is very difficult to attain.
That is
But
the
it
trust
took me,
point.
yes, and like every time, like it will be the repeat. Some of the customer comes every 2 year or every year. Some of they send their family member, their husband, their son. But yes, it took 10 years to build that.
Wow.
So patience, persistence, perseverance, and the quality.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else apart from Rome, ma'am? Yeah, I would like to hear some more people share. Take it as a safe space, dear friends. We are not trying to judge each other. We are trying to learn something, and we are trying to, be better at what we are doing, so that our business, takes a better shape, right? So, anyone wants to give it a shot? I'll wait for 10 more seconds. In the interest of time, would love to hear at least one or two more people. Yeah, there is someone who's put something on chat, I suppose. Ashwik, is there something you would like to read?
No, sir.
Nothing?
Just no.
Okay, cool. Then what I will do is, in the interest of time, I will quickly move on. So this is a very interesting point, and this is my last point, and then I will kind of go towards the wrap up. So pricing is a system, right? And it's not a decision. So markets evolve, customers need shift, your business scales. Static pricing that worked at launch becomes a liability over time. So be very clear. Something that worked when you launch doesn't mean that it is going to stay the same way. You have to be always glued to the market, what's working, what's not working, how you are creating value, whether something new has happened, whether the customers are looking for something else. Those are the things. So these things change. Scale, sometimes your cost comes down, you want to pass on the benefits. All those things become a very important aspect of pricing, and hence it is not a one-time thing, it's a system. And I'm going to share an amazing insight from Tesla's case study, right? So if you look at Tesla, they launched, and this is the data, I wanted to share some data also, which will give you an idea. So Tesla launched with Roadster, right? At $109,000, a premium price that signaled innovation and exclusivity. So if you look at this, the first chart, the first two graphs, talk about the Roadster. So in 2008, their price was $109,000. In 2011, they took it to $128,000. In 3 years, they increased the price, but eventually in 2012, they shut down. Okay. Then in the meanwhile, they introduced Model S, their premium price product. And in 2012, they launched it at 57,400. They kept on increasing the prices, and now in 2021, they were at 89,900. So if you look at it, they understood the market. They said that, okay, Roadster doesn't make sense. In the meanwhile, let's get Model S. Then in the meanwhile, they also launched Model 3, right? And in 2017, they launched it at 35,000. They took the prices up and then they brought it down. Their latest is 38,990. So they increased it and then they brought down. Then they also, it's a more mass market Model 3. And then they also got Model Y, which is mid segment. They launched at 52,900, but then they kind of brought it down to 44,900. So if you look at the pricing approach for Tesla, it's not the same for all the products. So Model S pricing is very different, Model Y's pricing is very different, and Model 3's pricing is very different, and it has evolved also very differently. So what it tells us is there is no, for one company also, there is no one approach that can be used across all the product portfolio. You have to really understand your customer, your market, your context, how you are creating value, to really be very smart at pricing. So this demonstrates strategic pricing evolution, starting premium to establish credibility, then expanded to mid-market as production scaled and brand trust grew, capturing different customer segments at different price points. And this also talks about a portfolio thinking, right? It's not just one product for which they are pricing. They are thinking about the whole portfolio. By introducing a tiered product strategy, Tesla successfully captured different customer segments at various price points, expanding their market reach. Any thoughts before I move forward? Okay, so that's about it. I just also wanted to let you know that we are well over our 60 minutes, and in 60 minutes we can do so much, right? We just scratched the surface, which is building awareness. We introduced the lens and we triggered some reflection. But I'm also planning to run a full day workshop in collaboration with AIC, and in that workshop we will go much deeper, much deeper. And that's what we are trying to build, a very case-led learning approach, highly interactive, application-focused, and peer learning. So just wanted to quickly share the landing page of this. Is my website visible, Ashwik?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
So yeah, this is what I'm planning to launch. So unlock the secret to startup success. It's on 22nd Jan 2026 Thursday in AIC's office from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The general price is 5,999 plus GST, but for today's participants we are giving a flat 50% off, and there is a coupon code that we will share called as AIC50. Okay, so please, I would request those of you who found this useful to kind of participate in this workshop. It's going to be extremely interactive, and there is an agenda also that I have loaded here, so you will get an idea so how we are trying to do it. So the whole 2 days, and it's going to be very case led. We will want you all to work on your thing. Everyone will get a chance to do an individual reflection. You will go back with your own pricing blueprint, right? So that's the whole thing here. And why this course, all those things have been mentioned. You can go through what do I say, the landing page that will give you a good idea. So we will do it in the AIC Coffee Board head office in their incubation center from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on 22nd Jan. Okay, so idea is where pricing becomes strategic and not so stressful. So yeah, that's what you'll walk away with: your personal pricing blueprint, clear pricing logic, confidence in conversations, and experiments to run. So that's me, folks. Thanks a lot for taking time out. I'm Vikas Sunkad, founder of Sanjosho Ventures. I think Ashwik talked about what I've done previously and what is the mission that I'm onto. I am on to enable 1,000+ startups in the next 5 years with frameworks that help them drive sustainable growth. And I am also building that muscle to train more than 1 lakh professionals over the next 5 years in strategic thinking, pricing, and value creation. My philosophy is simple thinking and real impact. Complex problems often need clear frameworks and not complicated solutions. So yeah, that's about today's session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and also I would like to ask you, if any final reflection, what is that one pricing belief that you think got changed today? So with that, I would like to hand it over back to Ashvik and open for Q&A from the participants.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. The session was very insightful. And yes, sir, in the chat box, Ms. Lavita has mentioned that want to join, had some question. Ms.
Yeah.
Lavita, please. Actually, she was not able to unmute at that time. Lavita?
Any thoughts? More than happy to hear from people.
No, I don't think she is able to unmute from
No
us.
problems.
Yes, but if there is anything, you can definitely write to us. Okay, and so yeah, case studies was the best learning part by Mr. ZH Haidari. The session was fantastic, Mr. Vikas. Thank you for your time. So thanks a lot, bro. Yeah. Yes. So if there are any more questions, we're open for it now.
Thank you, folks.
Okay.
It was a pleasure having you all.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Vikas Sunkar for taking up this session, that too on the pricing strategy, which is actually a need of our. It's not only for the startups of coffee sector. It's a general topic which actually required for the startups in all the other sectors as well. So first of all, I'd like to thank you very much, sir. And also for the participants who have joined us today for this particular session. And yes, as sir mentioned, so there is a workshop that will be held on 22nd is the date that we are actually planning to have that workshop. So if there is, if anyone is interested, so kindly submit your registration there. Yeah. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.